was very wise. Teacher did not give any answer to it. Instead, teacher asked a question back. What was a question? The question was, do you know what the greatest potential lies? The student was very confident. He said, like, I know. It's in a college, it's in a school, it's in a universities, it's in a corporate companies. So he went on and on, on and on. The teacher stopped him for a while and said, like, I'll show you a place where the greatest potential in the world lies. And teacher took him to a strange place. And the place was cemetery. There, when the teacher reached over there, teacher pointed a finger towards the cemetery and asked the student, look at the place. And you can see the people who are lying over there. They had a terrific potential in them. Someone wanted to be an artist. Someone wanted to be a musician. Someone wanted to be a great actor. Someone wanted to be a public speaker in that. Someone wanted to be a coach and trainer. Unfortunately, they lived and died without achieving it. Because they were believing and they were living on a philosophy. If I had this, I would have been that. That was the first philosophy that they had. The second philosophy, I should have done it, or I could have done it, but I didn't do that. The first philosophy, if I had this, I would have been that. What was that? If I had a characteristics of a public speaker, I would have been a public speaker. If I had a characteristic of an actor, I would have become an actor. Unfortunately, they didn't do anything. They just lived and died with that philosophy. And the teacher took him to another place. When the teacher reached the second place, teacher stopped the car. It was in the middle of our village. Teacher pointed a finger to a location and said that, can you look at the place? There was a massive oak tree. This oak tree provided shade to all villagers for a long time. And all the villagers enjoyed the shade of the oak tree. And after a point, they took it as for a granted. They took it for a granted because that is a human tendency normally, right? They thought that one it had been there and it will be there forever. But unfortunately, on a super fine morning, the oak tree was crashed down. Everyone was shocked. When they reached over there, when they inspected, they had three realizations. The first realization was, the oak tree, though seemingly it was healthy from outside, it was inside, had a big hollow. Excuse me 1 second. And the second realization was, if they had protected, if they had nurtured that oak tree, the oak tree would have lived over there for a few more decades. And then third one, though it was looking perfectly all right from outside, termites, as I said, it did a great job. It made a hollow inside. The oak tree was crashed down, was not on an overnight. It was dying inside. So two lessons the teacher taught the student. The first lesson was, if you had a little bit of realization that this is my potential, act on it. When you don't act on it, it will die there. None of the potential will work unless we work on that potential. The second realization, second teaching was, if you realize that you are a speaker or you are an actor or you are a writer, you need to protect it by practicing it on every day. If you don't practice it, it will die inside, just the way an oak tree died inside. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you realize that you have a little bit of potential in any of the area that you have in your current life, protect it. You may have to put a lot, you have to put a lot of effort for that. Just like, a spark when you have a fire, you will have to protect with your both hands. When society or someone blows into it, you will have to protect it. But after a while, once it grows, if someone blows into it, it will become a wildfire. So till there, you need to protect it, my dear friend. So here I go with our PPT of what is eBookery is all about. Let me share the slide with you. Yes, this is an eBookery platform. What is eBookery? In a simple language, eBookery is a platform where eBookery encourages people who love reading and people who love presenting a book and people who are voracious readers. And this is our eBookery team. You can see right from Santosh, Sarid, Niyaz, and Sayed Haris, Rainira, and Jayashree, Vinisha, and Vamsi. And these teams does a lot of work to put a lot of energy on this platform on every day, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of cheerfulness, and to make our participants entertained, energized, and to make our participants inspired. And these are the two people, Faisal Ibrahim and Anil Thomas. These are the legal parents of our eBookery. If they were not, the eBookery wouldn't have born. So these are the speakers that we had in our past. Our journey looks like this. We started with our in-house speaker, Vamsi Reddy and Sarida Riaz. From that, we moved on to chapter 2, chapter 3, and many chapters in between. Now we are on chapter number 14. So this is where how our agenda of the day looks like. We have a first 10 minutes for emceeing, and then after that we have a speaker introduction, and after that we will go to the first speaker, then we will have a small insight session, then we'll go to the second speaker, we'll have another small insight session, and we will have a vote of thanks at the end of that session. So with this, I would like to move on to Faisal Ibrahim, my buddy, my college mate. We shared the same college for 3 years down the back in the time 14 years back. So I'm so happy. It's my pleasure and privilege and honor to welcome my buddy. When we were in a college, we didn't have any kind of an activities like this because we had many things to do over there. We had a lot of responsibility on our shoulder to take care of the gorgeous girls of that college. So we were busy with that. Hi, Faisal, please come on, come here.
Thank you so much. It's my privilege to meet you and talk to you, and having this conversation every week. Thank you everyone for joining this powerful, impactful e-bookery show. It's been 17 chapters so far. We are meeting together every Saturday. We got 17 different speakers, 17 plus 17. It's two speaker each Saturdays, and it was incredible journey. We have come across a lot of non-fiction and fiction books, and a lot of people got encouraged to read lots and lot of book. So as usual, we have two speakers today going to deliver two amazing books, which will definitely move you. Some of these stories which they are going to touch, which help you to read the book, as well as it will help you to get the knowledge from those books as well. So it's my great honor to invite the first speaker, Rohini Sundaram. She is amazing human being. When I read about her, I felt like, wow, she is an advertising copywriter for more than 30 years. Rohini has written ad copy for films, radio, and print in India, in Bahrain, and Canada. 3 places. Amazing, isn't it? Rohini also wrote 2 books, were commissioned in an assignment as a part of her professional work. Some of her published in Statement, Calcutta, India, The Globe, The Mail, Canada, and Halifax, Cornish Herald. And also, she has edited and managed a blog called Home, The Clock, Stuck-On. Her brother, who had a stroke a few years ago, and that's what the blog she was managing. And also, she had a personal blog. It's called Fiction Pulse, WordPress.com. Please do visit and encourage her. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to introduce the speaker for today. She's going to review the book called The Town Like Ours by Kaveri Nambesian. So, Rohini ma'am, stage is yours. It's my pleasure to invite you and take it over. I'm just unmuting you, then you can go ahead. All right. Okay, I'm sending you a prompt now. You just need to accept the prompt. Yeah, you're unmuted. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is indeed an honor for me to be invited here. I've rarely done this. I was asked to review one of my own books, which I thought I didn't think was quite right. So I am reviewing a book, and there's a little bit of disclosure here. The writer, Kaveri Nambisan, is an old school friend of mine and my classmate. She grew up to be a surgeon. She's a very dedicated doctor. She qualified herself as she's FRCS and various other things, but she took it upon herself to never be in a hospital in a city. She wanted to dedicate her life to underprivileged people. So she has always served in small towns and villages. She even set up something specifically for laborers. And so she still continues. I mean, she's as old as I am. And you can see that's pretty old. We won't go how old. But and the only other passion she has is writing. She has written several books. One is the book I am going to review. Then there's a book called The Story That Must Not Be Told, which was actually shortlisted in the Man Booker Prize. So, but she didn't win, of course, but it got as far as the shortlist. And then she's written books called, she is from Kurg. So a lot of her stories are really set in that area. There's a book called the Scent of Pepper, which is a superb book. They're all really good. And I was going to tell you about the one that, what's it called? The Story That Must Not Be Told. But I decided I should pick on something that's probably less well known. Of course, strangely, which is very sad, she's an exceedingly good writer, but you don't hear about her in the public because she's not up to doing her own marketing, which these days all writers seem to have to do. Anyway, a town like ours is set in a fictional town called Pingakshipura. It is a village that has suddenly grown into a town thanks to the establishment of a factory called Sugandha Enterprises. And the story is all about the people who live there. And it's all told from the perspective of a long-time resident and a retired prostitute. Her name is Rajkumari. So you can see her, she's reclining in her thin mattress in a room, and she has actually got a separate area given to her by the temple priest, for whom she says she's become a weekly habit. And then from there, she sits and she comments on all the people, not every single person, but a few who catch her imagination. So, but she's quite satirical. And of course, Kaveri's writing is very detailed and a little bit almost self-deprecatory at times. But you get an idea that there's a little sadness and a sense of impending doom, because there are descriptions like where in Pingakshipura, where the water runs a poisonous black and the hair on every child's head is white. So you know that there's something underlying in all these stories that she tells. There's a story between a chap called Manohar, who has had a row with his wife because she paints. She paints wonderful, quite, for him, bizarre paintings. So he's an otherwise mild man, and a teacher, but he decides he can't put up with this, so he walks out on her one day. The idea is he'll go back, but for 3 months he's rented a place somewhere else, and then he meets another lady called Saroja. So all the time you think there's going to be something between Manohar and Saroja, but there isn't. And so there's no. He loves his wife Kripa, and he is incredibly impressed by her, but this has somehow got to him. So this woman, the prostitute, keeps telling us these different stories. Then she tells you another story about a young bride who's married to a very simple fellow, and one fine day she decides to strangle him, and she drowns him, and then she runs off with her 5-year-old son, and she's come to Pingakshipura. And she sets up with the local taxi driver, Sampath. So it's funny in parts and it's sad in parts. There's a guy called Electric Mamu. Everybody in the village knows because he works with the electricity and all of that. So many different people. The thing I would like to read a few quotes. I've actually downloaded the quotes, copied the quotes, because I said, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pull out the quotes from the book itself. So I'm going to just read a few quotations from there. So it opens with you, the book opens with you, imagining that you arrive and then you go walking down the street. And then, of course, and she's talking about men, she said, of course, if you are a man, ask not why a wall is built and then left to crumble over the years. Ask only that you be permitted to stand facing it with your elbows loosely flexed, your index finger and thumb doing the one manly duty learnt early in childhood, which is to direct your micturi arc at a specific spot. So it's amusing things like this. But at the same time, she constantly makes little comments about life, about her idea, I guess. Then she was at one point she says, a man can walk the streets with no apparent purpose, swinging his arms, dawdling, pausing to light a bidi, or loitering with single-minded aimlessness. But a woman, ask any woman, cannot. She must have a purpose of setting out, or appear to have a purpose. So she walks with determined steps, always carrying a bag, a book, umbrella, or some such useful article that gives respectability to her mission. And if she does not carry one such thing, she looks guilty of misconduct. So this is how, I don't know if I just took a couple of these out to illustrate the sort of commentary and at the same time the detail of her observations. And so we see the whole thing, and it goes different people and different comments. So for me to sit and iterate all of them may be a little bit too boring, I don't know. And we see them, and then we see that what is this impending doom? The town has grown, the village has grown into a town because of a company called Sugandha Enterprises. And this has brought some amount of prosperity to the place. And so, of course, it has burgeoned and grown and become something. But there's a high price to pay. And that is the pollution, which is what is turning all the children's hair white, like mine, I guess. So how many of you are familiar with R.K. Narayan's Malgudi Days? I don't know. Can you hear? So this book reminded me a little bit about that. Is there anything else you would like to ask me about the book? Because, otherwise I could go on and on about, all the different stories that we've read about in there.
Yeah, you still have another 10 more minutes. Maybe you can talk about your own book or
my books. Yeah, I have written 3 different books. So one is a book called, one is actually quite a short story. It's called Desert Flower, and that is set in Bahrain because, when I was in Canada, somebody asked me to explain how hot does it get in Bahrain, because they cannot imagine the heat, just as some of us cannot imagine the cold in places like Halifax. So to explain it to him, I started to tell him, and then I said, no, maybe I should write this down. But when I sat to write it down, instead of me writing and explaining the heat, so the opening lines of Desert Flower is, how do I explain this heat to you? And then this romantic story suddenly came upon me. And over the next week or so, I think it was a week or maybe 2 weeks of lunch hours, I would sit every lunch hour to write the story. And by the time it was done, then it was finished. But then, of course, I never shared it with him. It remained a story with me, and I would never have done anything with it until I came back to Bahrain. When I came back, I shared it with a couple of young girls from my office, and they said, "Oh, come on, Rohini, you've got to publish this." And by then, of course, the internet was in full swing. So I said, okay, and I looked for a publisher, and I finally got a publisher. But the first publisher I got had a very, how should I explain? A very raunchy site. The website was all kinds of romance, not only regular romance. So I put the pen name of Zora Saeed on that, and that explains the Zora on my name. So that is a story that's set in Bahrain in the 1930s, when oil is newly discovered. Then I did a book called Corp Poetry, which is making fun of corporate life. Once I retired, I had already written about 25 poems on situations in the office, like, the IT guys. I hope you wonder how many of you are IT guys, and I've made fun of them. And sort of little things like an office romance, or the water cooler, and HR, all the memos that we get from HR. And so that's core poetry. Then a friend of mine illustrated it, and that was published some years ago. And then my most recent one is called 5 Lives, One Day in Bahrain, which is set around the 5 prayers. And then I follow the lives of 5 different people, a housemaid, one of these chaps who works, but he runs a taxi service on the side, not free, but you can call them up. Then there's a Filipino housemaid, there's a British banker, and then there's one Bahraini young fellow. So their lives, what happens through this day, and finally how there's an accident, because otherwise these 5 people would never meet. And then what happens to them. So that is 5 Lives, One Day in Bahrain. And I did all based on the different prayers. So the sections of the book is on the Fajr, the Dhuhr, and all the different prayers. So that's the last book that I did. And in the mean, other than that, I do a lot of other writing. I used to run, until recently, the Bahrain Writers Circle. I have now stepped down for a lot of personal reasons, but that's more or less me. Yeah. Any questions? You're welcome.
Hi, Rohini ma'am. Thank you so much for that. Can you please narrate a beautiful story from that book, which really touched your heart?
Which book?
The book that you explained over here. What was that story that really touched your heart?
In a town like ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is the story that touched me. Oh, I think it's the one about Manohar and his wife, and this and the tension that, because he leaves her and then he goes and stays somewhere else. And now, if I have to read it, I'll have to get the thing is, it's not a single narrative. The narrative goes, it stops, we go off to another narrative, and then there's another one. So through the book, the story comes together. So it's hard to read just the one, narrative through the thing. It's not like Malgudi Days from that point of view. Malgudi Days, each was a complete story. So no, it's not. It isn't quite like that. But it did remind me a little bit of it, because it is about the people in the town, in the village, and their stories. So.
All right, that's great. And we have a Saira over here. Saira, are you there? Hello, Saira. Hi, Saira.
Muted. Hi.
Yeah, Saira. Saira, you must have read this book, right, Saira?
I haven't read the book, but I enjoy Rohini's company immensely. She's a person whom, when she stepped down from Bahrain Writers Circle, I was nominated into her shoes. So I have big shoes to fill into. She's the director, was the director till director of Bahrain Writers Circle till last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a voracious reader, and I enjoyed that review, Rohini. I should pick up the book from you.
I don't have a physical book, unfortunately. So I used to have it. I was looking for it. And then I realized maybe must have loaned it to somebody and it never came back.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember who it was. So there's no way I can, get it back. So I downloaded a Kindle version of it, and I had to do a quick reread because I read it quite a while ago. And but I think you need to read this to absolutely appreciate it, because it's the language, it's the detail. It's that sort of thing that actually carries you through. I know I was looking at a few reviews. Some people said they couldn't go through it. Now I don't know whether they are younger people who want to have a lot more action in their stories or what. This is highly descriptive.
Right.
All right. That was wonderful. Is Soma sir there in our team now? Hi, Soma sir.
Yes, I will unmute Soma sir.
Young and energetic Soma sir.
No, I think he's not there. I think he's lost some network issue. Yeah.
Is it? All
Soma
right.
sir is not there.
All right. Now, is there anyone in our session who would like to comment on this book?
Yeah, if anyone want to have a quick chat
Hi,
about the
Sindhu ma'am,
book.
Balagopal.
Hi all. Rohini ma'am, that was an excellent presentation. And from whatever you said, I think this book, when compared to Malgudi Days, it would be about the characters and situations. We already know about someone or something, some situation we
Yes.
already know, especially
Yes.
about the quote you said. Whenever a lady walks outside her house, maybe we carry something, a book or an umbrella or bag or something with us always. That is what I have always seen in my childhood. It is not like that nowadays. Nowadays it is different, but I think that is a familiar situation over there. And thank you for that
It
excellent.
is also set in a small town. So
Yes.
I guess, the idea of a woman just walking aimlessly. But to be honest, now I'm in Bahrain, and I would say we're fairly cosmopolitan and things. But if you go out, you really rarely ever see a woman just ambling on her own.
Yes.
You will see she's out for a power walk. She has a purpose.
That is right.
So I don't know how much that's actually really changed.
Okay, that is all.
Yeah, but the pleasure with reading a town like ours is that it's like a bit like the oak tree that he talked about, that on the surface you think you know these people. Then when you look inside, that's their stories. It's all of that comes out. And then the little quirks and things of human beings. And sometimes there's a little bit of a dark secret, and sometimes there isn't really that much of a secret, like Manohar. I really liked Manohar only because he thinks he has an aura about
I have not read the book. But I am going to read the book now.
Oh, please do. Please. Yes. I need to tell Kaveri that unfortunately, because she's in Kurg and she's in a place where the internet is so poor, otherwise I would have invited her to join us. It would have been wonderful to have her.
Yes. That is a very nice place also, Kurg.
It is, I believe. Yes, I've never been. So, but we were in school in New Delhi.
Thank you, Sindhu ma'am. Thank you, Rohini ma'am, for that. Anama ma'am, you are there, right?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
All right. Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing?
Fine, fine.
So, what do you think of this A Town Like Ours? And we had a wonderful narration from Rohini ma'am over here.
Yes. Rohini ma'am, it was wonderful listening to you. Beautiful voice. And,
Thank you.
and your language is so good. So we feel like listening more. Okay. And I have not read the book, but in South India, this book is famous. In Karnataka, especially. Malgudi Days. It is in Kannada, I think so. This book is
but
also in Kannada.
Yeah, that was, I read that in English, and
I read a book called Malgudi, but I just only the title in Kannada I read. I don't know. That's a Kurg language, means in
I see.
Karnataka language.
Okay.
And there, the Kurg is beautiful. So when you said that she wrote about, she gave about labors, that she built a hospital or something for labors.
Yes.
Kurg is a place with full of coffee estate.
Yes.
And laborers are plenty there.
Yes.
So might be because of that she connected that story.
But she herself is Kurgi, so in her, and she used to be married to a well-known, I believe he was well-known, Vijay Nambisar, well-known Malayali poet, that he wrote in English. And I think he wrote in Malayalam as well. I'm not
Yeah,
too
this book is actually famous, Malgudis.
Malgudi is famous, but this book, A Town Like Ours, reminded me a little bit about that.
About Malgudis. Okay, okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful listening to you.
Thank
So
you.
you should come more and like often you should come and speak to us. It's good. Experience people speaking is very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Ma'am, it was wonderful to listening to Rohini ma'am, and we never thought like you would stop in the first 10 minutes because we were on a great flow. The flow should have gone like in another 30 more minutes. Anyhow, the time doesn't allow us to go further. We got our second speaker here, Dr. Shumita. To introduce Dr. Shumita, I would like to welcome Faisal Ibrahim again. Before that, one of the things which I really liked, the one which Rohini ma'am explained over here, everyone has a story to tell. Anil sir, you got a story to tell, right? Similarly, everyone has a story about their life. Even Faisal, you got a story to tell. Faisal, how many stories you have?
A lot of stories now. It's been 20 years. I'm planning to play a book, but I think.
You mean to say you're 20 years old now?
Yeah.
You mean to say you're 20 years old now, or?
No, when I was 14, I really want to do something like this. But being 35 now, 21. In fact, I just missed one age now. All right, thank you.
So let's have our Sumita ma'am over here, Faisal, please.
All right, friends, tie to your seatbelt now. Now we have a group of people come together every single morning. It's called a 5 a.m. club. In India, 5 a.m. and as well as Dubai, 5 a.m. We meet every single day. It's been 133 days. We meet almost 200 plus people join every morning to do daily rituals. And you know what we do? We practice gratitude. We practice discipline. We practice goal setting. And this woman came to us and spoke. And she, you know what she did? She filled us with the hydrogen. The whole 200 people were on fire because she spoke to us from heart, from her experience, from her own stories. She has some power, let me tell you. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's my great honor to invite Dr. Sumita Umat. She is CEO of Let's Talk. She's also a very powerful mindset facilitator and coach. And also she's an alumni mentor for the Sherry Blair Foundation UK. And she's going to present the book called The Science of Getting Rich. Oh, it's going to be amazing. The attracting financial success through creative thought. It's written by Velocity Watlas, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Faisal. Thank you very much. And I'm really honored to be here and speaking to all of you. Thank you so much. And I would really, thank you, Rohini ma'am. She was, I was listening to her narrative of the book, and it was so touching that, I was actually relating to my childhood memories of Malgudi days. And it was wonderful to hear this story. So I'm really happy to be here, and I will be walking over this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace T. Wattles. So I will be sharing my screen. Is that okay?
Absolutely all right. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. So unlike this, what Rohini ma'am shared, this is a self-help book. This is a personal growth book, and it is about the science of getting rich. And before I even go into that book, I want to, clarify that what richness here means. And richness here, we are not only referring to the physical richness, we are talking about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual richness as an individual. We are talking about abundance. We are talking about the richness that happens in nature, the richness that happens in our life, the rich stories that we just shared. So each one of us is a bundle of rich stories. We all have so many rich experiences. So richness here means, that richness. It is, the author is referring to that richness. Yeah. And this book was written 100 years ago. It was written by a person called Wallace T. Wattles. And what he discovered was, what he wrote in his book was, it's a pretty thin book, very, very thin book, around 100 pages. So written in such a simple language that anybody can easily understand. So Wallace T. Wattles basically says that, getting rich is an exact science. We all of the time, most of us believe, that some people are happier, some people are richer, somebody is more lucky than I am, somebody is more successful than I am. And we keep on believing that to be true. And we don't look at the richness in our life. We don't look at what we have. So as you said, we don't practice gratitude. We don't have that attitude of looking at our own richness. We look at everybody's, we think that he's rich because he's in so and so business. He's rich because he stays in so and so place. So we have all the reasons we give for other people's richness. So what Wallace D. Wattles clarified was that we are all rich, we are all born rich. And if you want to go for more richness in your life, be it physical richness, be it mental richness, there's a certain law that you need to obey. There are certain rules of living that we all need to obey. And it's an exact science. So there's nobody who's lucky. There's nobody who's born more fortunate than you are. If you practice those certain ways, those certain formula that he gives you in this book, it's like with mathematical certainty, you will get rich. So he talks about that. Yeah. This book has 17 chapters, very small 17 chapters, 2 to 3 pages of average chapter length, and written very, very well. So the first chapter of this book is a very, very important chapter. And, it deals with the question most of us face as we grow up. So first of all, how many of us believe that we deserve to be rich? How many of us believe that I deserve to have a rich life? I deserve to have an abundant life. We feel greedy. We feel selfish. That's the way we are conditioned. We think that, no, he's more fortunate. Let him be rich. I don't deserve to have all the richness. I don't want to be greedy. But what he's clarifying in this first chapter is that we all have the right to a full life. The reason that we are all born here, God has gifted us a life, is like, an indication that he gives us the right to a full life. He doesn't want you to lead a half-hearted life, a life which is full of, half desires. Either you are pursuing your passion half-heartedly or you're doing things half-heartedly. So God, our Father, doesn't want us to live like that. He says that when I have given you this life, I want you to lead a complete life. A life where you have complete mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, growth. So because the purpose of life is to grow. Why we are here? We are here to grow every day in all aspects, all areas. Not only the physical, the emotional, mental, spiritual planes where we live. So that means that really means, what it really means is that we should have the unrestricted access to all those things, all those commodities which ensure our growth on all these planes. So he makes us sink in into this thing that, why we should have money, why we should be physically rich, so that we can have access to all those things which can ensure our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual growth. It is very difficult for many people to believe that, because we believe that having desires is not good. We should be contented with what we have. But Wallace D. Wattles, who wrote 100 years ago, he very clearly rebels this statement that you should never be contented. You should never be contented. You should live in gratitude, be in thankfulness of what you have. But you should have a desire to have a more fuller life. You should have a desire to grow on all planes. So when he says that, he gives us examples from our everyday life. So he says, for physical growth of your body, you need food, you need home, you need clothes, you need all the physical commodities. Yeah. And for mental richness, what do you need? You need to travel, you need to learn, you need to read, you need to have books, you need to play, you need to go out and interact for your mental growth. Yeah. For your spiritual growth, what do you need to do? You need to contribute in the society. You need to go back. Like her friend, the doctor, is going to a very small place and contributing. She's living at a spiritual plane. So in order to do all these things, you need money. Yeah, you need money to do all those things. So there has to be a desire to be rich. There has to be a desire to physical richness. Only then you can live on all these 3 planes, all those 4 planes. You can only contribute, you can only grow on all those 4 planes when you acknowledge the need to physical richness. Most of us are denying it always. Most of us have been taught that money is bad. Money is not good. Don't work for money. I'm not saying work for money. I'm not saying that. And Wallace D. Wattles doesn't say that. He says that having the desire for more riches is justified because it ensures you a fuller life, and God gave you existence to lead a fuller life. So you have all the desire to live. You should have all the desire to grow on all the planes possible for you. Yeah. So don't suppress your desires. Don't take them to the cemetery with you. Don't, hide your passions. Don't say that I will do the something when something else happens, and when something else happens, when I have money, I will do this. When I have time, I will do this. Because when you have a desire inside your heart, it is an indication of God wanting to fulfill that desire through you. That is why you have that desire. Life wants to come out of you. You are a spiritual being. How can life express through you? Only through desires. Only through desires can life express out of you. And when you suppress your desires, you are suppressing life. And that's a crime. Yeah, that's what he's trying to press on. And with this first chapter, he says, getting rich isn't about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. So he talks about, how we should live. How we should live. What are the values? What are the, things we should practice on a day-to-day basis to live in that certain way. And he also clarifies that it is not that somebody gets rich because he is engaged in certain businesses, or he is sitting at a particular location, or he's sitting in one part of the world, or he is interacting with so and so. So it is not due to that the person is rich. So it is an exact science which he talks about, and that's the context he sets in the first chapter. Yeah. So first thing he says, is to find out your passion, what you love to do, what energizes you. If speaking energizes you, if writing energizes you, if something else energizes you, acting energizes, whatever energizes you, you have to find. And as children, we are all aware of what we want to do. But what happens with this conditioning, with this society around us, with the schooling around us, more of education, we lose our purpose. Most of us get derailed into, doing things which will help us be more acceptable, which will help us be more socially acceptable, which will help us find a good job, or which will help us find more money, but we lose our passions. We lose what we really want to do. And as children, when you are allowing your children to, follow their passion, you are doing a service to mankind, because they are the ones who will grow up to do some things which will make a difference in the whole world. Yeah. So following your passion is the first thing that he talks about. Do what you love to do. Do what energizes you. And then he says that when you do what energizes you, when you do something you love, you are connected to the universal intelligence in a way. You are connected to the infinite intelligence. There is a whole lot of energy which supports whatever you are doing. You will, find resources who will come to you to your help without you even seeking them. There will be people, a lot of people you will meet on the way who will, unexpectedly support you in your cause, in your purpose, when you have a bigger cause to do. And I myself have, felt that there are a lot of people who come to support me, and I don't even, know them. I don't even get connected to them, but there's somebody else who's connecting me to somebody else. You know how I got connected to Faisal? It's so surprising. I was doing one coaching session, and then there's one lady who says, why I will connect you to somebody called Mr. Santosh, and he connected me to Faisal. So I didn't even ask for it. So when I do something with passion, there are a lot of energies which are supporting you all the way. And if you believe in it, more miracles are going to happen with you. So he says, he gives us the example of nature. He says that nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. There is so much abundance in nature. If you look at the greenery around, if you look at the sky, if you look at the vegetation, if you look at the blades of grass, it is so beautiful. Everything is so unique. Everything, not even two blades of grass are the same. Not even two blades of grass are the same. So we have to find out our own uniqueness. We have to find out our own inner strength. But what we keep on doing is we keep on following. We keep on following, what our society tells us, our family tells us, other people tell us. We get into a rat race. We don't find our uniqueness. And that's where the riches get lost. Nature is abundant. Nature is more than enough for everybody on this planet Earth. There was a quotation I was reading that nature has everything for everyone's need. But what we have become is we are going for greed. If it could fulfill everyone's need, it would, but what we are becoming as humans is we are becoming greedy. So we have to look at nature, we have to look at the resources that we have. So everything is more than enough, but why are we moving towards, greed, accumulation, a hoarding of things? So he warns us, he cautions us that nature has more than enough, but don't be greedy. So the first thing that he talks about is the biggest power. We as human beings, we are the crowns of creation. So what is the biggest power that we have is our thoughts. Our thoughts, because our thoughts are going to create our reality. Our thoughts are going to be created into things, what we desire. Everything that has got discovered, everything that has got created has been created twice. One in the mind of the person, and the second time in actual physical creation. So it is our thought. Everybody, who has discovered something, who has invented something, he has created first in his thoughts. So when we create thoughts, it's like a metaphor to the soil. So if you put a oak tree, you know, seed of an oak tree inside the soil, it grows into an oak tree. When you put a seed of a thought in your mind, it grows like a tree. An oak tree seed will produce an oak tree. An apple seed will produce an apple tree. So what are the thoughts you are having? Right now you have thoughts of disappointment. You have thoughts of, you know, happiness. You have thoughts of peace. What are the thoughts you are sowing in your mind are going to grow into respective trees. And that is the biggest power we have, you know, as human beings. No other species can think. We have been given this thinking power. Yeah. And let me also share with you what, you know, this analogy also has. So when you look at the land, you know, the farmer puts a seed into the land. So now the farmer can put a poison seed into the land, and the farmer can also put the seed of an apple tree into the land. But the land cannot differentiate between the two seeds. So when the apple tree seed is going to flourish, it is going to grow into an apple tree. The poison tree seed is also going to grow into poison. So the land has no hand in differentiating that. Similarly, our mind, you know, whatever we sow in the mind is going to grow. It does not differentiate. We do not differentiate, though we have the power to differentiate, but we keep on letting all junk get into our minds, and it grows like poison. So one person says something disappointing to the other, the person says something disappointing to the other, and it grows into a junkyard. It grows. Look at the news today, you know, keep on listening to the news today, keep on listening to the media today. What kind of information are they pumping into our, you know, minds, which is going to grow? Many of, you know, I feel very sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just talking about my own opinion here, but I feel that so much of mental illness that is being caused is because of this. If we could, you know, put a barrier to what we are putting in our minds, we could put a restriction on that. So he says there are two planes on which you can live. We are born as creators. We should live on the creative plane. We should create more. And what are we doing? Instead, we are living on the competitive plane. Instead of the competitive plane, we should always be on the creative plane. What am I creating today? What are my thoughts going to create today? Is what we need to think. So whenever you go into a competitive mindset, bring your mind back into the creation. Whenever your mind tells you that, no, he's doing better, remind yourself that you are going on the competitive plane. Remind yourself that nature has enough opportunity for you. So you don't need to go there. You do not need to think that he's making more money, or he's more successful, or he's more fortunate, or he or she is whatever they are. You know, don't compare yourself. You don't need to go there. Nature has enough richness for all of us. So be on the creative plane. Look at the small children, you know. I was looking at Nias's daughter. She was trying to create so much of energy in the room. She was trying to run around. There was no competition for her. She was not feeling bad about it. Yeah. So live on the creative plane like children do. You know, I want to create this painting and that painting and do this and do that, and, you know, try out 100 different things. Be on the creative plane. Whenever your mind, you know, notice your thoughts. Whenever your mind goes on the competitive plane, bring it back. What am I creating with my thoughts? Is a very, very important message that he's giving us in his book. And the next thing he gives us is, you know, give more than you take. Give more value. Whatever you are doing, whatever business you are in, whatever you are, you know, initiating, whatever you are creating, give more to others than what you take from them. Yeah. If you give more value to them, it is good. It is going to come back anyways in your kitty whenever, you know, with whatsoever religious theories or spiritual beliefs that we have. But give more than you take from everyone. Contribute more. This group is a wonderful example. We are giving so much to all the people who are listening. and something or the other. It's like, it's the law of karma. It's the law of universe, that whatever you are giving out, whatever energies you are giving is going to come back to you eventually, sooner or later. Then the next chapter he talks about, and this is the most important chapter in the book, gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you have, because when you focus on what you have and you are grateful for what you have, you will get more of what you want. That's what Wallace D. Wattle says. And it says gratitude is the simplest way to connect with the universal energies, with the infinite intelligence. And there are so many people I talk to, they say, I don't have anything to be grateful for. And it is so surprising, because there is a hell lot of things to be grateful for. First, you should be grateful you are alive today. My clients tell me that I had a goal, but now today I'm grateful that I don't have a disease. I'm healthy. My family is there with me. We have so much to be grateful for. Nature is there. You have so much facilities. You have food on your plate. You have clothes to wear. You have a house to live. You have so much. And still we say that we don't have anything to be grateful for. That's really, hurting. And then he says we should clearly ask. We should not refrain from having desires. We should not suppress our desires. Our desire to live a fuller life, to live a richer life, we just have to ask. And ask doesn't mean that we are not grateful. First, you have to be grateful, and then you have to have a clear objective, clear ask that this is what I'm working towards. This is what I'm moving towards. This is what I want. This is what my desire is. It has to be very clear, crystal clear. Like you talk in the morning, smart goals, and I say smarter goals. So all this is clarity of thought. Yeah. So once you have a clear thought, then you should have faith that it can happen. Don't doubt yourself. Don't keep on doubting yourself, because when you doubt, remember the farmer who puts the seed of the oak tree inside the land. Does he keep on digging and see, is it growing? Is it growing? Does he do that? Have you seen him doing that? He just has the faith, I'm going to water it. I'm going to nurture it. I'm going to, give it ample amount of sunshine, and it is going to grow. He has that faith in the infinite intelligence. And we human beings, we don't have faith. Our fears have crossed our faith. I always say this, that the fear is also as invisible as the faith is. Fear is as invisible as the faith is, and still we choose to believe in fear. We always believe that our fears will come true. But why don't we have faith that, our fears will not come true, or something that we desire is going to come true? That is where the choice, what we are making. You know what, when Edison was experimenting for his light bulb, he failed so many times. We all know the story of Edison. We all know his story. And one fine day, after his so much of experimentation, his lab just got burnt. And he was so happy. And somebody asked him, why are you so happy that your lab just got burnt after so much of experimentation you did? So he says, my failures have burnt. Whatever was not working has burnt. Now I'm going to create something which will work. So he had that faith that he is going to do something, he is going to invent something, he is going to create something. How many of us have that faith? After one failure, we just give up. We think that it's no longer worth it. Our persistence dies, our faith dies. One person on earth says, one person in your family, one person in your friend circle says, no, that's not worth it. You're spending so much of effort, and we just give up. We just say it's gone. You know, we don't have the talent. You know, when I first, I am an engineer by, by my education. And when I first thought of becoming a speaker, you know, a very renowned person told me that you cannot become a speaker. And he said, you cannot become a speaker. You have spent 18 years of your life on technology, on coding, on this and that and all that. You know, he said, and I told him, you know, at least let me try. But he kept on repeating the same thing. And after so much of insistence, he took me in his class to become a speaker. And after that, you know, his secretary calls me and tells me that, you know, he doesn't think that you can pass this thing that you underwent with him. So he didn't even give me a certificate. And then I again called him. And he says, what, you know, my secretary, didn't she share her, you know, grading with you? And I said, yes, she shared, but I want to listen from you. So he again said the same thing. And then I said, you know, let it be. Let it be. Let me try again. Let me do from somebody else who is willing to believe in me. And I kept on going because there was such a powerful urge that I had that, you know, I would want to become one. I want to do something which has meaning for me, which actually is a strong desire in me. Yeah. So he says, use your willpower. Use your willpower. Don't doubt yourself. Don't, you know, don't keep on digging the earth and checking your seed is growing or not. It is always going to grow if you have your positive thoughts. If you think that you are going in the right direction, you are. It is like if you think you will fail, you will fail. If you think you will, you know, succeed, you will succeed. Yeah. So don't doubt yourself. He says, use your creative mind. Don't use your competitive mind. Don't think that there is not enough opportunity for you. Don't think you will not have the right resources. You don't think you will not have the money. You will not have the time. You will not have this. You will not have that. If you are going to live your passion, if you're going to live your purpose, everything will be at your disposal. Everything. So use your creative powers. Use your creative mind. Get clear about what you want. Have that desire. Express it around. Express it and tell people that I'm going to do this. Hold to your vision and act. See, acting is very important. Taking action is very important. Most of us, you know, we keep on thinking and thinking, overthinking, analysis, paralysis. We keep on doing that in our own minds. We don't take action. You know, half this world is full of people who don't take action, and half this world is full of people who just take action without thinking. And if we could merge both, you know, think, act, it would make so much sense. It would make a lot of sense if all of the thinkers would act and all of the actors would think. Isn't it? We all have people around us. You know, I see so many people who are just thinking, I will do this, I will do that one day, I will do this one day. And then there are so many people who are just acting. They are not even thinking, one thing after the other. So we need to bring both. Continue to act in your present environment, you know, whatever your situation is. Don't get boggled by your circumstances. Don't get boggled by your situation. Whatever situation you are in, find the good in it. Find the good in it. Finding the good in every situation is also a skill we need to learn. Even in this situation, we can find so much of goodness. I'm not saying this is a very great situation, but there are so many good things happening. There are so many people who are shifting their attitudes towards more positive, being more grateful. There is so much of things happening out in the nature. There are so many powerful lessons we are learning. We are learning to appreciate our families more. So find the good in every situation. Do more than what you can. And then the second last chapter, Wallace D. Wattles, what he says is, it's very interesting that whatever richness will come to you, whatever richness will come to you will come only through people. You cannot do anything alone. We are social beings. So when you have good relationships with people, only then, when there's a spirit of harmony, there's a spirit of belongingness to people, only then riches will come to you. Only then you can feel rich. Without relationships, there is no richness which is possible. So my friends, what he says is, leave everybody you meet, every person, every single person you meet with an impression of increase. And what this means is, if I'm having an interaction with a small child, I leave that child with an impression of increase, that he's bigger than what he is. If I'm having an interaction with all of you today, I want to leave you with an impression of increase. You are bigger than what you think you are. If I can do that for every interaction, imagine how powerful every person would think they are. Right now, what we are doing, I see so many interactions happening. People are just diminishing each other's dreams. They are just telling each other, you can't do this, you can't do that. The situation is not favorable. You will not be able to accomplish this. And that is not the basis of richness. This is the fundamental principle of richness, impression of increase. If you are a teacher, have this interaction. Whenever you have an interaction with your students, leave them with an impression where they feel stronger, where they feel that they have some strengths, rather than feeling, that they are full of weaknesses. Yeah. If you are a lawyer, make your clients feel that they can win, despite all the corruption, despite everything negative which is happening around the world. If you are a doctor, make your patient feel that he can get well. Make your patient feel that. One of my mentors, he always says that whenever I meet somebody, it could be anybody, it could be a worker, it could be a driver, it could be a house help, it could be anybody. What I see on his face, written on his face, is MMFI. And you know what this MMFI means? Make me feel important. Everybody is craving for that. Make me feel important. And if you can just spend 1 minute, spend 1 minute or 2 minutes in making that person feel important, you leave him or her with an impression of increase. That person is never going to forget you. That person will always, remember the interaction that you have with him or her. Be it a child, be it an adult, be it anybody on this earth. Whomsoever you meet during the day, make them feel good about themselves. This is the strongest message I can give you from this book. This is so lovely. Yeah. And give more value to others. Let them feel good about themselves. And be on an auto course correction, on mode. If somebody is giving me feedback, take it positively. I will do better than myself. You can just become better version of yourself. Don't compete with others. If I'm good at certain things, I can be better at those things, but I can never be best at anything, because there's always the next level, always the next level. Life is always full of learnings. So be on that auto correction mode. Take feedback, improve, and then again take feedback and then improve. Like this, you continuously keep on improving yourself. And he ends so beautifully this book that this universe is a friendly place. It is a friendly place. It is a super friendly place. And if you live like this, if you can live like this, your life is going to be full of richness, full of abundance, full of gratitude, full of good things to look at, full of good relationships, full of whatever you want to have in your life. That's what he concludes with. I am not sure how much time I have taken, Anil. I don't know.
Oh, Sumita ma'am, that was wonderful. Faisal, you are absolutely right. Sumita ma'am was a machine gun, fully loaded, back to back, from where we started and where we entered. It's a complete motivational session, If I just need to paraphrase, I would say that one, have a gratitude. And she made the point very clear to us that, what is the difference between being grateful and being content? And the next thing is that do what you want in your life, no matter what. When you truly want something in your life, the entire universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. A small dream is a crime, which is said by APJ Abdul Kalam. And always be on an auto course correction. That's a wonderful thing. And the last and but not the least one is to have a faith and patience. And to be very honest, I'm a great fan of this MMFI. Make me feel important. This is the key of any kind of a relationship. You want to make a rapport with anyone? Do MMFI over there. If you want to make a relationship with anyone, do MMFI over there. If you are a salesman, you want to increase your business, do MMFI over there. MMFI is the most powerful tool in any relationship. Faisal, are you there? I guess Faisal is floating over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I told you.
And another thing which I want to tell you, the kids, they have a wonderful energy. I was experiencing over this here. I thought I was floating on the thoughts, but it was not, because my kid was pulling my chair. He was rocking and rolling. It got a wheel. So I was floating while I was speaking.
Yeah,
Yes, Faisal.
Absolutely.
But you were floating on thoughts, Faisal.
Not many people can grab what is there in the book. I think this woman has a power to grab and deliver. That's not easy thing. I sometimes read 2 times and 3 times and I still think, what is going on, Faisal? But thank you, ma'am. It's amazing the way you convey the message from the book. It is mesmerizing.
But I would say that
this
book is not just about a science of getting financial rich. This is a holistic richness, emotional richness. It is a physical richness. It's a mental richness. It's holistic richness. Wonderful book. I should say that this should be a Bible of motivation. It should be a Bible of any kind of an inspiration. And Wallace has done a wonderful job. And he has to have a lot of gratitude on you, Dr. Sumita, because you did absolute justice to that book.
You know how I bumped into this book? It is very interesting to share that, I always never read books which had this word rich in them. I always thought that, this book is something which is about only money, and I'm not running after money in my life. And the first book that I read was this Think and Grow Rich, which is by Napoleon Hill. And when somebody gifted me that book, it was there in my bookshelf for around 7-8 years before I even opened the first page. It was lying there. Many people told me you should read this book and you should read this book. I said I will read it one day, when I feel like reading it. And it just lied there in my bookshelf. And then one day, I don't know what happened. I just picked that book up and, I put a cover on that book so that nobody sees me reading this kind of a book. I was so apprehensive about it, and the image it would bring to me, because I was never the person who would go for richness. But when I started to read, I realized this is so narrow what I was thinking. I was thinking so narrow about the book. I read, and after that I read all of the books that Napoleon Hill read, and I got so engaged with this topic that, we are missing out on a lot. And many people I know who don't read such books because they think that it is just about, running after money. And it's not like that. So after reading this book, it has really opened my eyes that we ought to have desires. We ought to be willing to have more life in ourselves. And for that, if we need more money, there's no problem in asking for more money. There's no problem in having desires as long as they are mentally, morally, and ethically correct. We should have desires. If all of us have desires, we can change the world. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. If you think you can, you are right. If you think you cannot, there also you are right, unfortunately. We have a Fauzi Inspirer over here, the one who's sitting in a cloud. Fauzi, are you there, Fauzi Inspirer? Have you been inspired?
Yeah. Fauzi is
Fauzi?
also very, very inspiring woman joining our 5 a.m. club. Fauzi, what do you hear today? How do you feel? Hearing power
I
pack.
really enjoyed this session. I really enjoyed, and what ma'am said is really exactly correct. I strongly believe in it, and if I believe that I can inspire the pupil, so that's why I given that name. So ma'am said that already. If you believe, you can do it. So I believe in it. A wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes,
Beautiful.
Fauzi. With the name itself, you are inspiring us. As ma'am said, one thing, I really loved it. The land doesn't know what seed that we are gonna sow over there, whether it is an apple seed or an ox seed. And another thing is that, if you cut an apple, you may able to tell like how many seeds are inside. But, once you sow a seed, you may not be able to tell how many apples gonna get out of that seed. So we are all seed, in fact, truly. And we're gonna move to another seed over here. Takyuddin, are you there? Another inspired soul, Takyuddin.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is all around. He is someone look for growth, reading, a lot of time for 5 a.m. club. Wherever we go, he is there. He's man behind our all WhatsApp group. Taki, it's my great honor to invite you to share a few
Yeah,
words. Please go ahead, Taki.
yeah, really, I was expecting this from Sumida madam because we had a session last time, no? So I was eagerly waiting for the session. I understood this one book was entirely different from the Think and Grow Rich, but it is another aspects of our life. On yeah, as she said, it is not only money, but that also we have to go behind our dreams because our life is intended to be that way. That is the purpose. Whenever we are not going behind our dreams or our what you can passion, that means we are not doing our purpose. This is the main aim I got from this one. And no need to always dig and check your seed is uh, it is sprouting or not. It will be as the rule of nature, it will sow itself. As a confident farmer, we should be waiting with a positive or optimistic approach. So many stuff we got from this session, and thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Thank you,
And
Takyuddin.
not
Thank
be
you,
a
Takyuddin.
just a thinker to act. Thank you.
And another thing I want to tell over here, like, one thing ma'am mentioned here, be a person who gives more, than what he takes. And Takyuddin is a perfect example for that, to be very honest. Right, Faisal? The one who the one who does a lot of work to run our 5 a.m. club, our empowerment talk, our rebookery, whatever it is. I mean, he is there to help us with anything and everything. Faisal, don't you agree with me that? You're on mute, Faisal.
Absolutely, no doubt, buddy. He someone has power within. He have some inner calls, and we would wait and see what this guy going to become after 5 years or 10 years. More power to you, Taki.
Thank you.
Keep going. Do not give up.
Thank you.
And just
Thank
like
you.
one of these books, you need to carry all the time. These Bibles will make you to refuel
Yeah.
your hydrogen inside, and will make you fly.
True,
Yeah.
true. Takiuddin, one of the
Right.
very positive
Yeah,
person. And
yeah. Faisal is a great farmer. He's, seedling so many stuff around us.
for me, I would say Faisal is the one who is like a doer. He is the one like, think and do. No matter what. Do. No matter again what. Do
Declare and
again.
deliver. That is the famous quote
Yeah.
from him.
Go consistently. That is another one.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of people keep on thinking, keep on reading, keep on attending sessions, but not many people that take that one step to make a difference in people, make a difference in playing a big game. We are in that cage most of the time, and we don't see that one word that call, increase. And because the man who you meet every single morning, every single evening, every single day with your organization or with your life, they all have that potential, but you have to carry that word with you, that increase. Taki has that increase. The teacher who sits and listen, Fauzi inspiration, she had that increase inside her. We just need to tell her, just do it.
Faisal, whenever you say that one, I always remember Richard Branson of, the Virgin, the one who says that, if you're given an assignment of a very difficult one, which you cannot do that one, say yes to it first, and after that you learn it.
Yeah, I'm like that. Now, I don't know how I did this all stuff. Now, when I'm looking back, last 3 months, oh my goodness, did I do this? No. Amazing, right?
Wonderful. That's what, that Alchemist book says, that when you truly want something, then the universe would conspire in helping you to achieve it.
Absolutely.
So we have a Sushma Priju with us. Sushma, are you there?
Oh my God, she's another powerhouse. She is all around. She's got a lot of power, and she's an amazing host. She also runs similar programs like we did it, and we have a lot of gratitude to her. She hosted a lot of empowerment talk programs, and yeah, she
another apple seed.
Absolutely, she's another apple seed who's going to create lots and lots of apples in the future. There's no doubt about it. She must be in the cooking now, but she must be listening very rigorously. Creating the future, right?
Yes, and their family is on now.
Yeah, she must be taking care of the kids, but she must be still listening, Sushma, you're there? We unmuted you.
Yes, Faisal, I'm here.
Go ahead. Share a few words, ma'am, please.
Sushma, can you please share with us how has been your experience?
Yes, actually, I put it in the chat box as well. Like, I was listening to Sumita ji, and it has been wonderful. The way she expressed the chapters and the, how the author has written the book. Though I have not read, I felt that, yes, I have, I'm there. I'm reading that book. So I have heard her before on the 5 a.m. As well. And she's very, very good. So much impact she leaves. So yeah, thank you for that. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I had joined only when Sumita ji started because I had my session going on. Faisal had sent me the message. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Nias.
Thank you, Sushma, being with us.
Thank you, Sumita ji.
If we say Sumita ji is a very good, I don't really think that would be justice to her. We have to use some word.
Thank you so much for these generous words. I enjoyed this session myself more.
Yes, even the presentation was really beautiful.
I made it an hour earlier.
Wow, that's so great. Good.
So today is an amazing day with Rohini ma'am and Dr. Sumita. Definitely a day which we are not going to forget in our e-bookery life because, you've been a part of this wonderfully. And we have a volunteer to take the word of thanks over here. May I invite our volunteer who's going to go with the word of thanks here, please? All right, it's none other than our Sanish Babu, who has been with us for a long time. He's another one who gives more than what he takes. Sanish, please go ahead.
Thank you, Nias. Thank you, Faisal, for the amazing opportunity we have here. I think I'm audible, right?
Very much.
Yeah,
Too much.
Okay. For the amazing and to show up. To start with, I would like to congratulate speakers.
Hey, Sanish, 1 minute, Sanish. You have some technical issue. Would you mind removing your headphone? Yeah. Okay. Just remove your headphone.
Very much audible, but it could be breaking. But go ahead.
Better you just remove your headphone and speak from your laptop.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll start up. I'll start up all over again. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Nias, and thank you, Anil sir, for this starting up this show where we all could meet up and share a lot of knowledge with everyone. I would like to congratulate both the speakers, Rohini ma'am and Sumita ma'am. You both